Welcome, welcome, welcome back to the Love Kinsey podcast. It has been a while, and I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been putting off this solo episode. I don't know why, but things happen, and we are going to get into all of the things today. So I haven't done a solo in a while. I did the relaunch solo about a month or two ago, but it's been a while since I've done like a sit down chat, like what's going on in my head kind of video. So that's what this is going to be. And I'm going to start with what I am grateful for. I know this was a big thing last year when I was doing this podcast, and I really want to bring it back because I think gratitude is so incredibly important. And the two things that I keep coming back to that I'm just so grateful for is job consistency, which we are going to dive more and more into this in just my life update. But a huge new thing for me is having just consistent work, because that's always been a pain point for me of being like in this in-between stage of wanting to do full-time styling, not fully getting the opportunities that I necessarily want to get maybe, or even if I do, it's not consistent. And a lot of that did have to do with pandemic, I will say, so it wasn't fully in my control, but I'm very hard on myself, and I blame myself for a lot of it, even though it's not my fault that we were in a pandemic and that the entertainment industry was shut down. But that, it is what it is. And I'm just very grateful that it is back now in pretty full force. And I've been able to do things like award season that I haven't really been able to do. And I've been a part of award seasons in the past, but this year I felt like I was really in on the creative process, which was just such a huge blessing for me. And I am just truly so thankful of how God just continues to open up jobs that I not necessarily would even go after for me. And he just shows over and over again that he does know better, and that when I do offer these things up, he is going to be faithful to actually deliver. So I am just feeling very grateful for that. And the second thing, I guess, kind of on that note of just job consistency, also comes with this idea of, I guess, balance. And I don't really want to even say that, because that's a huge part of this episode that I am going to dive deeper into it. But it's true it just comes with the territory of having a full-time job, and it's that the season is going to look different. Friends are going to look different. Priorities are going to look different, all of those things. And that's been a big part. And I'm just feeling very grateful on that end for loyal friends who have been there for me, even through weeks that I really don't have time. And it's like redefining what friendship really is, that even if we can't be physically there for each other, we can be emotionally there for each other through voice messages, through calls, through all of it. And I have just been so grateful for that. And I guess it's twofold, because in that sense, I'm grateful for technology, that we're able to have voice memos and FaceTimes and calls and all of those important things that make friendship feel alive, even when it can so easily be distant with schedules and with all of that. So I'm just grateful that friends have been there when I feel like I can't necessarily be there. And a lot of times that's hard for me because I am such a people person. I love quality time. It's my top love language. And so when I can't have that, I'm hard on myself. I don't feel like myself. And I just like really, really struggle. So I'm grateful for friends who have been understanding on shifting schedules, on changing schedules, and all of that good stuff. So we are just going to get right into this episode. And I mean, I feel like I kind of previewed it already, and you can kind of see where it's going to be headed with this whole balance thing, with new schedule territory, all of that. And I think, too, it's good to address, like, on that note of podcasting, where have I been? Because I feel like I started so strong with new artwork and with having consistent recordings, and then all of a sudden it just seemed like maybe it slowed down, which it did. And I don't even know if anybody else noticed, really, but obviously with me being harder on myself, I have. And in the search for balance of, okay, like, what are my priorities? What do I want to be focusing on? Where do I want to be headed? All of that, like, what's actually important to me. I can be so hard on myself and picture, I guess, me almost juggling all of these things in my own strength. And when I think of balance, I almost get this analysis paralysis, which I've talked about in way earlier episodes, that I am such a victim of it. And I don't even want to say victim because I do bring it on myself. So really, I'm not a victim of it. But I do just suffer from this feeling of analysis paralysis, of being so overwhelmed with trying to balance all of the things of a new work schedule, of friends, of podcasting, of doing school, because I am still in Hillsong College. If you don't know, I'm doing it part-time. I'm doing 3 classes online, but still I have to dedicate time to that, and it's not always easy. So balancing all of that, plus, wanting to serve at church, leading a sisterhood group, all of the things, it can seem so overwhelming. And for me, when I go into that stage of overwhelmment, I shut down. Like, that is where the analysis paralysis comes in, because even just thinking about balance, I want to shut down. And it's really, really hard for me to come back from that and to realize, okay, balance isn't actually up to me at the end of the day. And maybe why I'm so tired and why I'm so burnt out is because I'm trying to do it in my own strength, because I'm not asking for help. I'm not going to God for it. And I'm thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. And in thinking about it, I turn to distractions such as Instagram, such as just scrolling on TikTok, or checking my emails constantly, or just trying to do. And in the process of like trying to do and trying to obsessively plan, I actually get nothing done. I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but that is definitely a huge me thing. I will spend more time planning, especially when I'm overwhelmed. I'll spend more time planning than actually doing the thing. Like, planning for me sometimes can take more time than if I were to just complete the task at hand. And a lot of it has to do with me, not wanting to complete the task or being a perfectionist and thinking I'm not going to do it well. Hello podcast. Like I have, been trying to troubleshoot recording of how I can bring the best content at the best quality, at the best budget, all of the things. And me trying to do it perfectly on my own, not having all the answers, it leads me to shut down, to just spend more time planning instead of realizing that it's better just to start. And so it's this constant tension. And lately I've been going a lot back to Psalm 127, which has been just a huge keystone scripture for me in this season. And I'm going to read it on my phone first because my Bible is the Message, but I do want to read it in the Message translation because it's incredible. But in the NIV, Psalm 127 verses 1 through 2 say, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves." And then in the Message translation, it says, "If God doesn't build the house, the builders only build shacks. If God doesn't guard the city, the night watchmen might as well nap. It's useless to rise early and go to bed late and work your worried fingers to the bone. Don't you know he enjoys giving rest to those he loves?" And this seriously has brought me so much peace during these past weeks and been so incredibly convicting to me because I realized why I'm so tired. It's because I'm not allowing God to give me rest. He's trying to take some of the weight off of me to help me balance, to make me realize I don't have to do it on my own. And I keep pushing that invitation away and I keep trying to do it on my own still and being like, oh, I need to do this though. I need to do this. I need to research these people to reach out to. And I just keep adding to my to-do list to honestly procrastinate maybe some of the more pressing things that I should be doing. And those things can even be spending time with him or working on school or podcasting, but instead I'll be like looking up emails or looking up different brands to reach out to or whatever it might be, or researching podcast stuff, whatever. But for me, I've just piled on the distractions in trying to build this life for myself when God has never asked me to actually do that. And in the process, I'm ignoring what he's actually called me to in the season. And I realized with that I'm called to be consistent. I'm not called to be perfect. And that includes this podcast, that includes school, styling, fellowship, all of that. Like none of it has to be absolutely perfect. What God actually looks at is the consistency of our heart, our action, and if we're doing what he called us to do. And he doesn't look at how well we did it, how perfect we did it, because if it was perfect, we actually wouldn't need him. And it defeats the process. And I think it's so key to remember that if God said go, he said go now. He didn't say wait until you have got your life together to start this. If he gave you the green light, it's because he wants you to start the way that you are, as you are now. He doesn't want you to wait to become something that you